I used to know exactly who I was: wife, CEO, mom, distance runner, leader, dog mom, hockey mom. Every single morning I woke up and the world told me who I was going to be that day. The world, my world, the world I built, the world I created, the world I woke up and walked into every day. It tells me that, right? Every single morning, I woke up inspired, ready to go, take on the day, self disciplined. And then one by one, those were gone. Those positions, those identity stealers, if you will, or identity, like it's like you're on a hook and you're that identity of that day. The marriage ended, the job ended, the role that I walked into in my company ended, the home was taken, the income was gone, the bank account was closed. And I just remember that in the middle of all of this, this messy middle, this messy falling apart, I came to this place in life, and I built something around that place, because I said, well, then who am I? I'm like in my mid 40s. Who am I now? And that question broke me. Well, I don't want to say the question broke me. All the falling apartness, it breaks pieces off of you, and the pieces kind of just fly away. But today, I'm going to show you how I answered this, who am I? And how you can too. So here we go. Welcome back. Every day, subscribe, like, follow, comment, do all the things you're supposed to do on YouTube. Not because you're supposed to do them, but because this type of community can be where we get you from the identity loss, the identity crisis in your mid 40s, out of it faster. And why do you want to be in this identity crisis longer than you have to? You definitely don't. So you might actually find yourself saying, why does this identity crisis, why is it hitting me harder than the actual messes? Why does it feel harder to deal with, like the who am I, than actually going through the divorce? I want, and before we go into the rebuilding, because that's where you want to get to, I want to name what actually happened. What actually happened to you, because you're thinking that we're just going to use divorce as an example right now, because all the other stuff that did happen to me happened, but we're going to kind of go with divorce. So before we talk about rebuilding, I want to name what actually happened to you, because most women think that divorce is the whole loss, right? But it's not the whole story. Bear with me. So when you're going through divorce in midlife, you're not just losing your marriage, you're losing a role, you're losing a daily structure, you're losing the family that you had built, you're losing the future that you had planned. Like there's a ton of loss underneath just the going through. There's a version of yourself that you built for decades, probably a decade or so, right? You built this framework of your life around mom, around wife, around a daily structure, how you lived every day, right? And then around a future that you were planning for. So all of that. And then we tie our identity to the roles without even realizing that we're doing it. So wife, mom at home, half of a piece of a family unit, right? So you became like a hyphenation of somebody else's story, of somebody else's life. You were a part of a puzzle, and the pieces went together. My daughter likes to say, you're two peas in a pod. And well, okay, what happens when the pod breaks in half and one pea goes in one direction, another pea goes in another direction, right? When the roles disappear. And when that happens, that identity doesn't just shift. It's really hard because you don't just shift from, oh, I was a wife to now I'm single. There's a collapse. There's a falling apart. And that collapse is ruin. It's a ruin, right? It's a destruction. And it throws you into this disorienting way of life now. And it's so hard to explain to people who haven't been there, who haven't lived through this. Like my divorce was in my mid 30s, and I had never lived alone. I had gone from, college roommates to post-college roommates to meeting this man that I was going to marry, to living with him. So I had never truly lived alone. And then to find myself in a whole new world of raising kids by myself, having no friends who had gone through it, or family or anybody. It was as if everything collapsed around me. So then fast forward to, I was the CEO of a healthcare company. I was an executive of a leadership team. I'm a wife. I'm a runner. These weren't just things that I was doing. They were all part of the who are you. So when somebody is to say, well, who are you, right? Or the elevator pitch, or you're at a gala, or you're at an event, and it's like, who are you? Well, I'm so-and-so's mom. I'm so-and-so's wife. I'm a distance competitive runner. I am at the helm of this fantastic company leading these. It was an all women executive team. And then it was gone. And then I just didn't get back in the circle of let's talk about who I am anywhere. So the not having your identity figured out at this moment in time, when you've gone through so much chaos and so much mess, it's not a weakness. And it probably feels like a weakness. Yeah. It's what happens when you've been showing up for everyone else so long that you never built your identity that was just you. And now, I know this is kind of triggering, but now you get the opportunity to build an identity that is you. And then you're like, okay, well, wait, where do I begin? Because all I've ever known for so long is that person, the role of mom who gets up and packs the lunch and takes the dogs for a walk and knows where she's living and goes to the job and has her calendar full of meetings that day and knows it. It's that comfort of already knowing and having this established routine. And it all collapsed, right? So there are 3 stages of rebuilding your identity. 3. I'm going to walk you through the 3 stages. Do you do 3 this way or 3 this way? Okay. The collapse. Stage 1. Stage 1. This is how you're going to do the rebuild. What rebuild? Your identity rebuild. Who you are. Because the world needs you. Society needs you. People need you. I get it. I get it. You've lost your sense of purpose. If you don't know who you are, how do you know what to show up as? How do you know what to walk into every day? Here we go. Stage 1 is the collapse. This is going to be hard for you in the beginning because we have to let it be what it is. Oof. Because none of us want to just let it lie, right? None of us just want to take it for what it is. We don't want to take it at face value. We don't like the collapse. Truth. So the first stage is not rebuilding. I know it's not comfortable because we're builders. We're moms. We built the family. We built these kids, right? They grew inside of us. We built their life around our life. I get it. Okay. But the first stage is not rebuilding. It's allowing the collapse to be real. And I'm sharing this with you today because I built this framework because I've been through it and I don't want, the more you fight against it, the more resistance you have to allowing the collapse to just be real, the harder it's going to be to rebuild, the longer it's going to take you to rebuild. I've been there. I get it. So you're going to try to skip over this part because you want to stay busy, because you want to, you staying in survival mode is all you know to do. Right? And if you're following me, if you followed any of my content or writing, my starting and stopping projects, and they never go anywhere. This was me for 3 years. I couldn't let the collapse be real. I couldn't deal with the reality of it. It was painful. So I was starting and stopping and starting and stopping and quitting, but not, I was pausing. I wasn't quitting. I refused to quit. I kept trying, but I wasn't continuing either. And I didn't understand why until I realized I was trying to build a new identity on top of a collapsed one. Let that sink in. It's real. And I know it's painful to hear, but if I can help you understand this, I was trying to build a new identity on top of a collapsed one. You can't do that. So stage 1 is the collapse and let it be what it is. But what this stage requires is to stop trying to be the next version of yourself before you've acknowledged what you lost. Let that sink in. Stop trying to be the next version of yourself. Stop trying to find that next version. Stop trying to create her before you've acknowledged what you've lost. I'm teaching you this. It's so important. If I had had this knowledge, this wisdom, this experience from somebody else, if somebody else would have sat down with me over a cup of coffee and said this, it wouldn't have taken me 3 years to get through it. So what this stage requires is stop trying to be the next version of yourself before you've acknowledged what you lost. Name what you lost. Don't brush through it. Don't run through it. Name it. Name what's gone. Give it weight. Give it that. Give it the power that it had. And then you set it down. You set it aside. So you have to acknowledge it. You have to give it strength and power, and then you set it down. It's not about dwelling on it. It's not about ruminating on it. I've done it for years. It is truly about clearing it. Think about seasonal clothing, right? Yes, I'm going to compare a life loss to a seasonal clothing. Seasonal clothing is top price. We know exactly what it is. It's beautiful. It's a season before before you would wear it. And then what happens 3 or 6 months later? It goes on the clearance rack. Your identity that you built through those seasons it had weight. But then it came to a point in life when things changed. And you had to clear it out. Because what are you doing? You're making room for something new. Don't fight it. That's stage 1. Stage 2 kind of goes with the clothing, the inventory. What is actually still here? What do you still have? Okay, so once you've named what's gone, now you're going to take inventory of what is still you. What is the essence of you? What is the true you? You may have buried her so far down deep because you were taking on roles. You were, I don't want to say playing roles, but you were, in essence, living a life with roles, things you had to do. But we are now in stage 2, and we are taking inventory of you. I mean, it could be decades since you've done this. This could feel so icky and so hard to even get to because it's layers down inside of you. What is really true about you? What did you love about yourself before you became her wife? What did you love about yourself before you became the wife, the mom, the CEO, the corporate sales executive? What lights you up when nobody is watching? And if you're following me, I started sourdough bread, and basically it was kind of like a challenge to myself because I like to do the hard things. When I know I can do something hard and turn it from flour and water into this beautiful bread, nobody's watching me make a sourdough starter, right? So nobody's watching me run so many miles every morning. What lights you up when nobody is watching you? These are such pivotal questions. If you would take the time and do the work, I know you feel lost, and I know it's scary, and I know it's heartbreaking, and I know it feels like it's permanent, but it's not. It's temporary. Here's another question to ask yourself when you're working on this. What do I know deeply? This is the turning point here. What do you know deeply? What do I know deeply that has nothing to do with my job title or my relationship status? What do I know? And please, you're going to go exactly where I went to worth. I'm not worthy of having this marriage. I'm not worthy of being a great mom. I'm not worthy of being a multimillionaire CEO company owner. Stop it. You know something inside of you that is so deep inside of you that has nothing to do with a job title or relationship status. What do you know? So I went down. I mean, down. to rock bottom, to doing this messy work, to who I actually am. And I started writing to myself every day. I absolutely believe in the power of pen to paper. If you're not writing, not digital notes, not computer typing, writing, you will always find me with a pen and paper, always, everywhere I go. So I started writing to myself every day. Not a journal, but you can take all those questions and journal them, but direct messages to the woman that I was becoming. And then I had this huge aha moment. It was very recently, actually. I am the woman who helps you rebuild your life and income after losing everything without pretending it's pretty. That sentence, that pivotal moment after doing all this messy work in the darkness, in the cold, that sentence changed my everything. That's when it all clicked. So, in thinking kind of what I've just walked you through, it's a lot. Your inventory is not about what you've lost. It's about what was always there. It's your essence. It's always been there. Maybe it's been buried because the marriage, the career, the kids, the family, the whole thing you built. Okay, it was beautiful. But now we're going to a whole new rebuild of your identity. It's not fast, it's not easy, it's not pretty. It's absolutely worth it. So I want you to really take this, use it. If you would use this outline, if you will use this guide of what I'm telling you, you won't be in this identity crisis for very long. Write 3 things that are still true about you, no matter what your circumstances have been and changed. Start there. 3 things that are true about you, no matter what. Your truth, your real truth. Because I'm pretty sure you've been called a lot of ugly names through all of this. I certainly have. A lot of ugly names. That was stage 1 and stage 2. Okay, just to quickly recap, right? Because it's a lot. It feels like a lot. Your head might be swirling. You have all this other stuff to contend with in life, and you're trying to do an identity rebuild and an identity shift and find out who you really are, but you don't even have time for that. Yes, you do. So number 1 is the collapse, stage 1. Let it be what it is. Number 2, taking inventory. What is still here? What is within you? And stage 3, the last one, is the build. This is the good stuff. This is where you want to get to faster, right? The build. It is not, here's what it's not. The identity rebuild is not a breakthrough moment. I know you wanted the breakthrough moment. I know you did. I did. We all did. The build is in your small kept promises. I know what you're thinking. It's going to take forever. I promise you, if you keep your promises to yourself, if you do the things that you keep avoiding, that's the build. That's the identity build right there. That's who starts showing up. Every time you show up when you said you will, when you show up to your life, when you show up to your workout, your exercise, when you show up to your planning sessions, when you show up to the things you want to build in your life, that you haven't built yet. When you show up to yourself, there you are rebuilding your identity brick by brick, piece by piece, particle by particle. I needed to start making promises to myself that I could keep. So I was making promises to other people that I wasn't keeping. And that really, really bothered me about myself, because if you go back to like stage 2, right, or who you really are, I am somebody who keeps promises. I am somebody who has a lot of self-discipline. All of that got really lost in my Messie. In all of that heavy loss, I lost those parts. So I needed to start making the promises to myself that I could keep, that I would keep. Because starting and stopping and starting and stopping, that's not keeping promises. It really set me back. But I didn't know what else to do. I didn't have any other tools. My identity as somebody who would keep my word had to be rebuilt because I broke it. So I had to do it, but one day at a time. Your new identity is not just like, here, hand it to you on a silver platter. Your new identity is going to be built through your actions, through showing up, and through doing the things before you feel like doing the things that you're avoiding, doing the things. So here you go. Stage 3 question. What is one promise you can make to yourself today that you will actually keep? Just write it down right here. Got another notebook for you. Got another pen to paper. What is a promise you can make to yourself today that you will keep? Keep it, do it, get it done. Make it so that it's a promise that you can, an action that you can do. So, with all that said, I want to give you a tool before we finish up our live today. I want to give you something because it is one thing changed everything for me. And you've heard it. I'm sure you've heard this. So before I say it, I know you've heard it, but bear with me. This is the I am practice. Okay. Your identity truly lives within your I am statements. It is true. So what have you been saying I am out loud or in your head? What have you been saying? Because what you're saying to yourself is what you become. Your thoughts become things. It's true. Most divorced women, you're probably walking around with I am statements that belong to your past, right? I'm broken. I am behind. You lost a lot. You're not behind. I'm too old. I'm starting over again. What are your I am statements that you've been telling yourself? Because that's what you're creating your identity around. Whether you want to believe it or hear it or not, it's true. So what you need to do is you need practice in starting anything again, over, and starting anything new. We're not perfect. It's as simple as like starting a sourdough starter, right? You have to practice it. You have this ratio of flour and water and time. And it's not a perfect formula. So you have to practice. If you're going to start running a race, if you're going to run a half marathon, what do? You train for it. You have to practice your new identity. It's a real thing, guys. It really is. So I want you to write 5 I am statements every morning. Not who you are right now, not I am broken. That's not this exercise. It's about the who you are becoming. Because the quicker the quicker you recognize and give yourself credit for who you are becoming, the faster you're going to become that person. It works. It's scientifically proven. So for me, I am a woman who keeps her promises. I am, because I'm doing it. And I've proven just by starting over again, but staying with it this time. I am building something that matters. I am the woman my past prepared me to be. Yes, there is so much truth that there is purpose inside of your pain. I didn't want to acknowledge that. I didn't want to be that. I didn't want to find purpose in my pain because I didn't want the pain. I am not behind. I am exactly where I need to be. I used to have this sign right next to my bed that said that exact message. It wasn't about it was yesterday happened. Today, I did the best I could. Tomorrow, I can be even better, and I am exactly where I need to be. And I am the woman who helps other women rebuild. Those are for me. And the sooner that I wrapped my head around, even if it felt forced or it felt fake or it felt like I wasn't there yet, that's the resistance. But that's okay. Because in order to build muscle, what do you have to do? You have to have resistance on your weights, because you have to rip the muscle and let it rebuild. And like I just said, yes, they felt like lies at first. They felt like I was trying to trick myself, but they don't anymore. Because I've been showing up every day. And it's so funny because when you start the showing up and when you start living out your I am statements, that becomes the easy part. And then you're challenged with another level of growth and another place where you're uncomfortable and where you have to start to now grow into getting comfortable in a new uncomfortable place. So I really want you to take this as exercises, because I promise you, if you're in the middle, if you're in this messy middle, if you feel lost and scared and you feel like this is the end, it's not. I don't want you to be stuck in this spiral of starting and stopping for as long as I did. So take these exercises and write them on paper and say them out loud and do some mirror work every day for 30 days and watch what shifts. Watch it. I've done it. I just did it for 30 days. I'm now on 60 days. So if you're in the middle of this identity collapse, if your identity is falling apart and you don't know who you are, you don't know who you are without the marriage, you don't know who you are without the job title, you don't know who you are with the life you had is gone. I want you to know this is not the end of your story. It's the end of things, but it is, and it will be the beginning of a chapter that is totally yours. Entirely yours. When is the last time, if ever, you had this wisdom, you had this experience, and now you can build something that is entirely yours, which is exactly what I'm doing. I didn't go back to corporate. I'm not going to be a partner with somebody in business ever again. I'm not going to work in a cubicle. I'm not going to have a marriage that defines who I am, but it's part of who I am, because that part has changed for me in such a great way to find a best friend in life. So I invite you there. I do have a Messy to Momentum session for 90 minutes. It's a one-on-one. We will talk through exactly where you are, who you are becoming, and more importantly, the steps you need to take, the action. So I actually pinned it already in the comments. Drop an I am statement down below. One thing about who you're becoming. And you can start that practice right here, right now. You can be anonymous. Inside the build, inside the one-on-one, because I built this too, and you can read it right here. I mean, this is all real raw. But it's basically a workbook that I put together that is, who are you? I'm going to give that to you too. It can be so simple and so complex all at once. It doesn't have to be so daunting. All right. If I'm not any of those things anymore, who am I? I've just given you tools and strategies to use. You're not, I don't want you to feel lost anymore. You don't need to. Thank you for joining me this morning. And every day, same time, same place, let's go. We're rebuilding in our midlife.